Welcome back to the Crypto Swiss channel. It's James here. Let me tell you, some people out there truly think the window for life-changing wealth with XRP has closed. That couldn't be further from reality. These folks misunderstand what XRP actually is, why it stayed a powerhouse in the crypto space for over a decade, why it's been one of the top-performing assets in the last 6 months, and why it's gearing up for a breakthrough moment that could send it into price discovery for the first time in 7 years. Big things are on the horizon. Tired of fake gurus who claim to be expert traders but never trade live? I trade live on the second largest crypto exchange, where everything is transparent and results can't be faked. For over 440 days, I've consistently closed every month in profit. In the last 90 days alone, my followers have earned over $34,000 in profits with only 4% drawdown. Verified results, not empty claims. Want to see my verified stats? Click the first link in my profile and start copying my trades for free today. And we're so close. Here's the best part. All we have to do is stay patient. Time will prove us right. And when it does, it's going to change lives across this community. That's the kind of wealth-building opportunity we're talking about here. Now let's dive into something else. An eye-opening post from a developer on the XRP ledger who completely dismantled Cointelegraph over one of their ridiculous takes on XRP. It's almost comical how they can't stop themselves from churning out this kind of nonsense. But hey, it's not exactly shocking. They've spent years irrationally bashing XRP. What boggles my mind is this. Do they not realize they're spreading misinformation to their massive audience? Is this just incompetence, or is it deliberate? I have my theories, but honestly, it's a head-scratcher every time. Let's get one thing straight. It's absolutely ridiculous to think that XRP's best days are behind us. Sure, I get it. Fear is in the air with all the chaos in the market right now. But just because XRP's price has dipped alongside the rest of the market doesn't mean there's something inherently wrong with it. Markets go up, markets go down. It's the nature of the beast. And when the dust settles, as it always does, and the markets take off again, you better believe XRP will be right there riding the wave. That seems crystal clear to me. But before I dive any deeper, let me make something absolutely clear. I'm not a financial expert. I'm not here to give you financial advice, and you definitely shouldn't make any investment decisions based on what I say. I'm just a crypto enthusiast who loves talking about this stuff on YouTube. It's a hobby, it's fun, and that's it. Now let's talk headlines. The Crypto Basic recently shared this gem. History shows XRP could still create millionaires, despite dip to $1.64. At the time I'm recording this, that's about as low as it got. 164, maybe 163, depending on where you're looking. Who knows where it'll be by the time you watch this? The point is, don't count XRP out. Times are wild, no doubt about it. Crypto's already volatile, and now we're adding even more chaos to the mix. It's like volatility on steroids. But hey, even if, and that's a big if, prices are lower by the time you're reading this, it doesn't mean the best days are behind us. Nope, the best days are ahead. XRP is more primed now than it ever has been. This is its moment. Now, here's an interesting take. In a tweet, Abdullah Nassif, host of Good Morning Crypto, reminded us of the market crash during the 2019 COVID era. Back then, Bitcoin hit rock bottom at $3,850, Ethereum dipped to $100, and XRP, it dropped to just 11 cents. Crazy, right? This caught my attention because I recently talked about it in a video. I even pointed out that XRP actually hit 10 cents on some exchanges, Coinbase included, if memory serves. I remember King Solomon, another XRP YouTuber, posting about those insane 2020 prices. People genuinely thought the crypto game was over, but he had some wisdom to share. When public hysteria hits, you've got a choice. Stay calm, have a plan, and stick to it. Now that's advice that resonates, especially during times like these. A few years ago, these tokens skyrocketed in value, turning loyal holders into overnight millionaires. But here's the thing, folks. You don't get to those millions without riding the wild roller coaster of volatility. That's just how the game works. If you can't stomach the drops, you'll never see the highs. Here's a key takeaway. Price movement alone doesn't tell the whole story. It doesn't reflect utility or long-term viability. You have to dig deeper. That's why my investment mantra always comes back to one thing. Utility drives the future. Sure, markets might not always value utility right away, but sooner or later they catch on. They always do. Take Bitcoin, for example. Back when it dipped to $3,850, people panicked. Doomsayers predicted it would crash further, down to $3,000, $2,000, even $1,000. But guess what? It didn't. Markets find their bottoms, even when fear takes over. Nothing about Bitcoin fundamentally changed. It was just human behavior at play, the same fear-driven lemming effect we see time and time again. People followed the crowd, selling in panic, only to regret it later. Yet, despite the chaos, Bitcoin went on to hit $69,000 during the 2021 cycle and $110,000 in this one. And guess what? We're not even done yet. That's the beauty of these markets. The highs can be astonishing, but they only come to those willing to endure the lows. This marks a staggering 1,700% and 2,757% surge across both cycles. To put that into perspective, a $40,000 Bitcoin investment in 2019 could have turned into over $1 million by January 2025. Let that sink in. Sure, $40,000 is a hefty sum, most people would agree, but flipping that into $1 million, that's the kind of magic crypto can deliver. It's not something you're likely to see with Bitcoin anymore, not at its current price point, and not with a smaller investment. But here's the kicker. Other coins, like XRP, might still have that kind of rocket fuel. It all depends on how high XRP's price can go. And honestly, I'm optimistic. With the right timing, even a modest investment could potentially lead to some jaw-dropping gains. So many people are pouring money into cars, depreciating assets that lose value the second you drive off the lot. But imagine this. Instead of sinking money into something that fades, you invested in XRP, hold it long enough, and if we're right, it could turn into a 7-figure payday. Sounds bold? It's not far-fetched. This is the kind of thing that happens in crypto. XRP is shaping up to be a standout winner in the early years of the crypto revolution. Need proof? Here's a success story. XRP hasn't traded at 11 cents since March 2020, even after the SEC lawsuit. Despite that, its price climbed to $1.96 at the peak of the 2021 season and hit $3.40 this season. That's a jaw-dropping 30x growth in just a few years. Let's break it down. A $40,000 investment in XRP back in 2020 would have turned into $1.236 million by January 2025. That's life-changing money. We're not talking pennies here. This is the kind of potential that gets people excited, and I firmly believe XRP still has that kind of upside left in the tank. Sure, the global market is in turmoil right now, and investor sentiment is shaky, but history has shown us that today's panic often becomes tomorrow's forgotten blip. Experts predict that in a few years, the current price doubts around XRP and other crypto assets will seem trivial, as their value could rise significantly. Yes, that's the message I've been hammering home lately. Think back to the last market cycle. People were in a frenzy, panicking left and right. Fast forward a few years, or even half a decade, and guess what? None of that fear mattered. Those who panic sold might regret it now, while the ones who held on saw the payoff. Same situation here. If we fast forward 5 or 10 years from now, I bet people will look back at today's prices and think, wow, that was an incredible opportunity. That's exactly what I suspect will happen. Community member Bunny seems to share this optimism, saying that investing during times of uncertainty takes courage, but history shows it's often worth it. And here's the kicker. If XRP were to pull off another 30 times growth, holders with $40,000 worth of XRP today, that's 22,500 XRP at current prices, could see their portfolios hit the $1 million mark. Yes, that's right, a $50 unit price. Now let's be real. Some are predicting XRP could hit $50 this cycle, but I'm skeptical. The odds of that happening right now feel slim. However, could XRP eventually reach $50 in the future? Absolutely. It's entirely plausible. Envisioning XRP with a multi-trillion-dollar market cap isn't far-fetched, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if that's where we're headed. That's firmly rooted in reality. Anyone claiming XRP's best days are over and dismissing its potential for life-changing impact? Well, those folks are clueless. And speaking of clueless, let's talk about Cointelegraph. We've got to call them out. Check this out. They shared an insight comparing Ethereum and XRP, calling them both top cryptocurrencies. ETH is described as a digital currency supporting smart contracts, while XRP is for fast, low-cost payments. Sounds fine, right? Well, here's the kicker. They dropped a graphic that set the internet ablaze. Panos, a developer on the XRP ledger and co-founder of Anodos Finance, wasn't having it. He called out Cointelegraph for either spreading deliberate misinformation or being downright incompetent. Why? Because they conflated Ripple, the company, with XRP, the decentralized network. Let's be clear. Ripple is to the XRP ledger what Consensus is to Ethereum. They're separate entities, but Cointelegraph slapped Ripple's logo next to Ripple XRP Ledger, which is not only factually wrong, it's absurd. Fun fact, XRP existed before Ripple. Yet here we are, with Cointelegraph confusing a private company with a public, decentralized network. Either they're knowingly misleading their audience, or they're just not doing their homework. Either way, it's a bad look. Panos nailed it, pointing out that this isn't just a mistake, it's a pattern. It feels like XRP is constantly treated differently, purely out of bias. Let's call it what it is. XRP derangement syndrome. Whatever the reason, Cointelegraph needs to step up their game. This kind of lazy reporting helps no one. Number 2. The primary use case for the XRP ledger is DeFi and peer-to-peer payments via its decentralized exchange, the first of its kind in history, along with advanced payment features. Why point this out? Because when people talk about XRP's primary use case, it often gets oversimplified. They'll say it's all about cross-border payments and institutional settlements, but that's Ripple's focus, not the full story. Ripple positions XRP as a bridge currency, which is a huge part of its utility, but XRP has multiple use cases. It's also used as the gas token for Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin, as required by its code. However, originally, XRP wasn't created just for cross-border payments. It was designed to be a better version of Bitcoin. Don't believe me? Ask the people who created it. David Schwartz, one of the original architects, has said this publicly more than once. It's baffling that this still needs explaining. Number 3. Transaction speed. Let's clear this up. Cointelegraph claims XRP manages up to 1,500 transactions per second. But here's the catch. Panos points out that transaction speed actually refers to finality, which is 3 to 4 seconds on the XRP ledger. Meanwhile, transactions per second, TPS, is tied to scalability and network infrastructure. Cointelegraph conflates these two completely different metrics. It seems like whoever wrote that part doesn't understand the basics of blockchain. A bit of research wouldn't have hurt before posting misinformation to millions of readers. Seriously, how do C-grade efforts like this make it onto such a major platform? Number 4. The XRP ledger doesn't currently have traditional smart contracts, but instead offers native features that act like smart contracts at the protocol level. This limits programmability for now, but exciting developments are on the horizon. Proposals for the mainnet are out, and we've got the Zahao Live and EVM sidechains coming soon. So yes, XRP's ecosystem is evolving rapidly, yet Cointelegraph still managed to oversimplify this, presenting half-baked facts like it's their mission. Cointelegraph, this wasn't your finest hour. In fact, you get an F on this one. It's embarrassing to see such a large platform, one with 2.6 million followers, mind you, push out lazy, ill-informed articles about XRP over and over again. It's been a decade of misinformation. Ay caramba. In the words of Bart Simpson, by 2025, we should be beyond this. I'm just glad there are people pushing back against nonsense like this. It's a reminder of why I use my platform to set the record straight. By the way, as always, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't make any buying or selling decisions based on what I say here. That would be a very bad idea.